Okay, hello, and I just spent a hell of a lot of time figuring out the world record run for A Link to the Past. There is a lot of information on how to do the mid-air save and quit glitch to get around a 2-minute time, between 2 and 4 minutes, but I couldn't find any information online about how to do the sub 2-minute run. This is the one that is before you get the sword and shield, you're not even going to the castle, you're jumping off the cliff and running into the side of the wall and you're winning. So what I did was I opened up the video for the world record run. I tried what I saw on console, I tried it on emulator, and I couldn't really figure it out until I broke it down into TAS. I went through every single frame perfect input with trial and error trying to figure this out, and I finally got it working. Since there aren't any guides or videos on this information, I'm making this video to try and get the information out to you guys. Hopefully you guys can do something with this, and I ended up getting a 127 with the TAS, where the world record run right now is a 131. So with this TAS manages to get 4 seconds off the world record time. Hopefully you guys can use this information to further lower it and hopefully get even lower than a 127. So, whoops. Okay, I accidentally screenshot. However, we are starting the run. At this point, the only thing you need to worry about is mashing through the text, because it won't progress unless you push a button, and making sure Link gets out of the bed on one of the first frames possible, because you can be holding right here through this dialogue and Link will just be sitting up in bed like an idiot. So you have to push right from a key release after your uncle leaves the room. But once he's out, we're taking the route that the world record does, where you pick up the 2 bushes and jump off the cliff. And now right here in the world record video, you can actually tell what's going on. But with the TAS, you can't. It is very fast. So I'm going to be breaking it down frame by frame. First thing that you have to make sure you do is line up Link correctly. So, first thing to look for is the bottom of Link's shadow wants to be 3 pixels away from the edge of this cliff. Then you want 2 pixels up here that are 1 pixel away. Makes a little L, or like a right corner arrow thing. Then you want to make sure that the 2 pixels below his hand are free. That you have 3 pixels here, making a top left right hand corner thing. So this is where you want Link to line up. After this, you're going to be doing 4 kind of repeats of a frame perfect inputs. So your inputs are going to be down right and up right. You want to push those for 1 frame only, in that order, 4 times. So we're going down and right, up and right, down and right, up and right, down right, up right, down right, up right. 4 times in total for 8 frame perfect inputs. After this sequence, you want to push up and right a 2nd time. And now you want to be holding down and right. Just push it once. All of these have to be for 1 frame only. If they're 2 frames, you'll slide around the corner and bounce out. And this one is your teleporting frame. So the first 4 cycles and then the extra up and right is to get you into position. The next down and right is to teleport Link to the bottom of the screen. If you hold down and right for an extra frame, you'll go into an infinite screen transition where he just starts running down like Sonic, and it soft locks you. The screen rolls around and keeps warping and wrapping forever, and it just looks really silly. But we want to avoid that. After you go down, hold down and right for 1 frame. Now you want to be holding up. Holding up here gets Link from the bottom of the screen, as you can see. And at this point, you want to hold up and left until we jump off the cliff. And here, you want to go until you're about in the middle between the grass and the cliff. If you're any higher, you can trigger bad things like an infinite screen warp, or you might hit invisible walls, you might hit a standard screen warp, or get stuck in the water. It's crazy things can happen if you're not walking this line. If you go below, crazy things can happen. If you go above, crazy things can happen. So just try and make sure Link is in the middle. Now, once you get here, you want to wrap the screen twice. There's 1, there's 2, and on the 3rd one, you're lining yourself up with the corner of this. You can be anywhere here. It's not too particular, but once you hit the middle of this diagonal, you want to be holding up and left. After that point, you're going to be walking, hitting an invisible wall here, sliding along it until you hit an invisible wall at the top, and then you're going to be walking left to get a screen transition. So we hit the invisible walls, we go left. Once you trigger the screen transition, you want to release your keys. Link will appear here for a couple frames, and then he'll warp to the left until you get stuck. This was a hell of a time figuring out. There's so much that can go wrong on this screen. You need to be frame perfect on everything. Try not to hold any keys at this point, and then right when Link runs to the left for a couple frames, finishes his animation and stops, now you can start inputting again. You want to hold down and left for 1 frame, which will warp him a little bit down, and now you want to hold up. Holding up will make Link slowly travel down the screen until he hits an invisible wall, and then he'll jump off the cliff, which is invisible, and land in the water. At that point, you want to release your key until Link appears at the bottom of the screen flashing. At that point, you want to hold up and left. And now holding up and left, he'll kind of wobble around for a bit until he walks onto land. So now that he's on land, we want to hold up. What this does here, as we hold up, the screen will transition down, and Link will slowly move to the bottom of the screen and then wrap over to the top. Now, at this point, you can either do one of two things. You can hold up for a good amount of time, overshoot, and have to run up a little extra frames, which isn't the end of the world, but if you're going for the fastest time, you want to cut it close. So things that can go wrong when you cut it close is you may see Link at the bottom running left. That's bad. You can trigger infinite screen warps. But what can happen is once you start running left here, you'll see me double back for a few frames. So right here, I start running down. If Link's head is cut off when you're entering the screen transition, you will soft lock. So you have to make sure most of Link's head is on screen when you enter this cave. If you don't, the screen will lock like this. There will be a black bar, and it'll either run really slowly, or it'll just soft lock altogether. But once we're through the cave, we're into the second set of frame perfect inputs, and you need to line Link up pretty well. It's all pixel perfect. So what you're looking for is this little upside down T here. You want that to be on the bottom of Link's shadow on the right center pixel. So there's 2 pixels in the center here. You want the upside down T to be on the right center. And this is while Link is facing down. After that, you are going to be doing 5 cycles of 2 frame perfect inputs. The inputs are going to be up and left and down. Each one can only be held for 1 pixel, or wow, can only be held for 1 frame. If you hold them for more, Link will slide around and he'll stay in bounds, which we don't want. So we are holding up and left, then down, up and left, down, up and left, down, up and left, down, up and left, down. We're doing that 5 times. Afterwards, we are holding left until he hits an invisible wall and stops moving. His animation will still go, but the left input is not frame perfect. You can hold that down as long as you want. There's just an invisible wall here. You won't slide off it, you won't trigger anything, you won't jump off it. It's just a wall. After Link hits that invisible wall, you want to hold up and left for somewhere between 9 and 11 frames. So now that we're holding up and left, we're looking for this lineup. There will be 2 pixels of space in between the left of Link's shadow and the edge of this highlight. So now that we have those 2 pixels, we want to be holding down and left to make Link screen warp. Holding down and left will jump Link over there, jump off a cliff, and now just keep holding down and left until you get to the room that has 4 statues and a staircase. That's what we're looking for. So we're still holding down and left. Nothing's changing. We're not releasing any keys. Just hold down and left until you get to this room. This is the room with 4 statues and a staircase. The music changes, the tiles change. So it's a pretty obvious indicator of when you've hit it. At this point, you just want to be holding left. And now walking left from this screen, you reach the Ganon fight. From Ganon, you want to hold up. And then you're in the Triforce room. Now, the Triforce room has two... It's kind of confusing because the any % speedrun ends when you enter the Triforce room, but the music plays on frame 5243. You don't see Link's hat until 5246, the bottom of the screen here. So somewhere between 5243 and 5246 or 7 is when the run actually ends, which is around a 1 minute 27 second, and like I said earlier, it is 4 seconds faster than the world record time. So now I am going to reload the video, reload the TAS, and show you the run from beginning to end. And if you guys found this useful, share it with people who might also find this information useful. Let's look to see if you can use this information to push the time even further down from 127. Maybe there's information here that you can use to figure out different manipulations. And if you like this, do hit the like button, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff for more speedrunning videos, and I'll see you in the next video.